Hey everybody, it's Moshe Freedom. Welcome back. Today I want to talk about something that's super, super important. You know, behavior challenges is a part of education. Nobody goes into school because they love dealing with behavioral issues. Some people do have a place in their heart for those kids that are struggling behaviorally or otherwise. And typically when a child struggles in one way, it ends up being a behavioral struggle as well. The problems tend to blend into each other. But one of the things that I think is super important is for teachers to be able to know whether or not an intervention is working in a short amount of time, like within 1 week. Because if you have a problem with a kid with a kid's behavior and it's disrupting the class, you're not getting to everybody else, you're neglecting other kids, you're neglecting the lesson, it's draining your bandwidth, it's taking up a lot of your time. And if you try an intervention and you need to give it a couple of weeks to see if it's working, and then it's not working and you need to try another thing, it's going to make things really, really difficult. So one of the things that ClasStars does is it makes it really simple for you to know within a few days if your intervention is working. And I'm going to show you how that works right now. So we're going to jump into a screen share. And here is our ClasStars class. Where did it go? Where's ClasStars? There it is. Here it is. Okay. So again, like I've shown many, many times before, let's start a class. Okay, hit on the apple, you start the class, and we're going to call this class Know That Your Intervention is Working! Exclamation point. Okay, so we're going to pick on a random student to be the one with the behavioral issue. And like we always do, we take attendance right when we come into class. So let's just mark Adela absent just for the fun of marking someone absent. End class, let's go to class. Okay, so let's say, for example, we've got Rafi Amar. He's sitting right here in the front, and maybe we moved him to the front because he was having some kind of behavioral issue. Okay, now, anytime, and let's put this on single swipe, anytime Rafi's behavior is an issue, is a challenge, you swipe down on him. Okay, and that's how you keep track of behavior. You can also rate the intensity of the behavior on a scale of 1 to 5. So let's say he's acting out and you give him a 5 because it's really, really disruptive. Okay, and you're teaching, and of course, you're giving other kids positive feedback. You're, encouraging kids, including Rafi. You're including Rafi, giving him positive feedback because maybe that's your intervention. And you're just going around the room, but Rafi keeps acting out. Now, once you get comfortable with this, by the way, you can take it off of single swipe, put it on full function mode right here. And now when I swipe down on Rafi, I actually get the behavior wheel, the misbehavior wheel. So if Rafi is disruptive, I'm hitting on that disruptive button and I'm measuring that it's really disruptive. He's disruptive again, and mark that off. And maybe this time it's a little bit less disruptive. Maybe my intervention is working and it's a little bit less disruptive. So I'm marking that there. And I go through the day and I'm basically marking all the misbehaviors that Rafi is doing. And it's a lot because he's really struggling. So at the same time of doing that, I'm also going to be swiping up and giving him encouragement, complimenting his extra effort, and doing all that kind of stuff. All right. And that's how I go through the day. So now you're done. Class is over. We're going to close the session. And now we're going to take a look at Rafi's chart and see whether or not this intervention is working. So we're going to find Rafi here on the board. And Rafi is here, same place in the classroom, right? Front and center. Okay. And we're going to hit on the behavior dashboard button. Okay. The behavior dashboard button brings up the behavior dashboard for the class. And here you go. All right, everything is slowed down when I'm broadcasting this and doing this on a live feed. So, right, so here you'll see that Rafi's got this little red bar that represents the misbehaviors, and this is the positive stuff. So I'm going to tap on this, and I can see that he's got 10 positives, 6 negatives. That means 6 swipe downs. Correct and incorrect is academic. We'll talk about that another time. So I know exactly how Rafi has been doing in this time frame from February 12th to February 17th of the past week. But if I hit on these 3 dots right here, this brings me into Rafi's individual dashboard. Okay, and what this is going to show me is a plot chart, and I'll let it come up on its own so you can see it yourself. Again, it always takes a little bit longer when I'm doing a live stream, which is what this is, okay? So let me show you how this works, okay? Now, along the top is your timeline. So we're starting at January 7th, and we're going all the way till February 17th, which is today, all right? And here is where there's activity. Okay, the yellow represents the academic stuff, the red and the green represents the red is the swipe downs and the green is the swipe ups. That's really what we're looking at. So here, first of all, you have a donut chart of everything, all the events that were recorded, and beneath here you have the filtered events, the filtered records, which is identical here because we're not filtering anything. But here's where it gets really cool. You slide out this, this plot chart. Okay, now what we're going to do is, because of this demo class that we've actually done today, you'll see this here from today, he's got a lot of activity here, but that's skewing the data because it's demo data. So we're going to readjust the dates here and pull that into February 11th and just give it a moment. And now you can see how this is plotted out. And each of these dots represent a behavior item that's listed here. All right. So each one is a behavior item. The greens are the swipe ups, the reds are the swipe downs, the yellows are the academic, and the orange are the academic incorrects. Okay. So what I've shown you beforehand is a bunch of swipe downs and Rafi, but if you'd be using this throughout your day. So here we're starting in the beginning of January and we're going through the middle of February. You'd see a lot of red dots here in the beginning when the behavior's, becoming a problem. And as you're increasing the green dots, as you're increasing your intervention, you should start to see within a few days fewer of the red dots, because here we go across the dates, here we go across the time of day. So you can actually see here in this chart the time when the red clusters tend to come up, because sometimes kids have a harder time in the beginning of the day, sometimes they have a harder time at the end of the day. But either way, you can see very clearly when the misbehaviors are happening. And you can also see over a few days if the intervention is working, if things are getting better. And this is a very, very useful tool to work with parents, to work with a team, to try to figure out what is it that Rafi needs in order to get the support that he needs to make the improvements that he needs to make. So this is a super useful tool that allows teachers to really know within 1 week whether or not their intervention is working. I encourage everybody to use it, to use this tool, to download it. It is free, so you can definitely use it. And if you have any questions, you're welcome to email me, Moshe at ClasStars, and I'm happy to help. Take care.